It's Texas football talk
from those who wore the burnt orange.
Welcome to Longhorn Lowdown. Now here's Todd Hunt, Stevie Lee, and Stu Myrick.
Welcome to another edition of Longhorn Lowdown. Stu Myrick here with two of the best linemen you could ever ask for. My co-hosts, Stevie Lee and Todd Hunt. What's up, fellas?
Hey, what's up, man?
And joining us on the virtual couch this week, this is one of the guys that really set the bar for Texas football. He is the pride of Waco High. He was a Parade Magazine high school All-American. Played 2001 2004 with the Longhorns, Nagurski Award winner, Butkus Award winner, two-time consensus All-American, 13 years NFL, most of it with the – excuse me, I'm sorry.
14. Yeah,
14.
You got to give me that one last year, even though it was –
Well, I know the Raiders. I
know, right? We don't count that one, right?
Four-time Pro Bowl, but most of that time was with the reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs and a Texas high school football Hall of Famer. We welcome DJ himself, Derrick Johnson. What's up, man?
Hey, nothing much. Thanks for the introduction, man. I forgot about all that stuff, man. You making me look good. I like that.
Well, all you got to do is turn around, look at that wall behind you.
Yeah, right.
I tell you what.
That's some old stuff. That's some old stuff I had in the storage a little bit.
A few decorations. I was going to say, yeah, you got like 43 footballs, the jersey. I got Mick Foley on the other, on the wall behind me. So I think you got me beat. I love Mick. Don't get me wrong. So, how are things? How is your family? How are things going during this crazy pandemic time, Derrick?
It's going good. Everybody has to adjust on the fly. Being a football player, I guess this kind of we're used to making mid game adjustments, and it's been that way this whole COVID pandemic. But with the kids here at the house, just chilling out, man, living a good life with the wifey, just spending more time with the family. So, I'm retired now, so I'm not old yet, but I am retired. So I'm just chilling, man, just chilling.
Yeah.
So it looks like you're doing a little bit more than chilling, man. You look really skinny right now, dude.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. Yeah.
You know what? I think I've been working out too much, man. 2-a-days. Whenever, my wife's like, if I don't have something to do, I come back in the house 2 or 3 o'clock, and she's like, "You working out again? Like, what? Where are you going?" But it helps me out as far as just mental health wise, and just kind of staying healthy, and I'm eating better. I shed about 15 pounds since a couple of years ago when I got out the NFL. So I'm about 215. Hopefully I can stay at that weight. I don't want to. My mama don't like me this small. She like, you're too skinny. I want you to gain a little bit more weight.
Yeah, she sent some cakes and pies your way, man. I'll help you eat it.
Hey, I was gonna say that.
I wasn't gonna say that.
Get Stoney Clark to send you those tea cakes he makes.
Yeah, man.
So you know what? Since you guys played together, what was what was one of the best things, Stevie Lee, that you loved about this man? Being that you were blocking for him, for so many years.
Well, I think my earliest memory was when Derrick came in. When Mike Tollison, Coach Tolley, he always taught us to take on the double team. So if I'm in a 3 technique, I'm taking on the double team with the tackle and the guard. And I'm like, come on, Tolley, I want to go back there and make plays too. And then so we go. My earliest memory of why I was taking 2 people down with me on a double team. It was a double team. It was in practice, and I think it was Derek Dockery and Big Wax. Somebody like that, and they came down on me, and I got it. Then it kind of clicked because they came down on me, and Derrick was running sideline to sideline. He can do whatever he wanted to do because I made that sacrifice, and I was like, there's no I in team. So I'm gonna take this one. So we took a lot of double teams for this man to run sideline to sideline, and really on film, man, we love seeing that, man. I mean, this dude was running down like receivers and running backs, like it was nothing, and that defense worked for us, man. That's why we had 9-10 win seasons every year.
You know, my neighbor the other day, guys, so every once in a while we'll go outside and we'll be out there, make some Lizzies, what they call them, which are bacon wrapped with some jalapeno, chicken thighs, right? And so we're sitting out there like last week, and I said, so, his name is Willie, by the way. I said, Willie, so, if you had to pick, one player that you saw in the past, because we're talking about linebackers, and he goes, I tell you, man, best one I've ever seen, is Derrick Johnson. I was like, really, DJ? Why would you say that? And he said exact same that you just said. He was flying left and right across the field, making tackles all over the place. He was just all world. So, DJ, the reason why I say that is this, the Longhorn community loves you, we just love you. And we think that, I think you're one of the best linebackers to go to University of Texas for sure, 100%. But, even fans, they still love remember the fact how badass you were at UT. So I guess my question is, we could probably start early in that. So what got you to UT? What did you do? And growing up, what put you in a position? You have your brother and all your relatives. What happened that piece of your life?
Well, that's a good question, man. I'll tell you what, I grew up into a household of football players, family of, longevity as far as football players, a lot of cousins. My mom comes from a family of 21 brothers and sisters by the same mom and dad. So I tell you what, it's a lot of, you talk about family reunions, it's a lot of football players in that family. And just, my mom showed me some tough love early. I didn't really want to play football, actually, just because, the hardcore coaching and these guys. I was in the inner city, so, those guys yelling and doing all this stuff. And I tell you what, man, my mom was like, nah, you going to play. Like, you got something special, so you stick it out there. And after that, man, I tell you what, I got to high school, and I was flying around sideline to sideline. And I tell you what, man, I've really been blessed over the years to have as much success I had as early in my football career, being a parade All-American and have the opportunity to go to any college I wanted to. And I picked the University of Texas, and I was really proud of that decision, especially with Mack Brown and everything. So I was, man, and being my older brother is 6 years older than me, and he played football. He played 5 years in the league, and he played at Baylor. So I always tell people I had an advantage over other people because I had somebody in the household that was doing the same exact thing that I was going to do. Like, that was big. And I saw the way he worked. He's a man of faith. Talk about a hard worker, good grades off the field and hard worker on the field. That's all I had to look at, and it paid off for me.
Yeah. You were at Waco High. You obviously a huge football star there at Waco High, but you also ran track. Was there ever a instance where maybe you thought about maybe venturing into track and field? You ran the 100-meter dash, triple jump.
That's why he dropped 15 pounds. He's going back. Just track those abilities, man.
The Tokyo Olympics are next year, so why not?
Man, I'll tell you what, I love track, actually. That's funny. I don't think anybody's ever asked me about my passion for track, actually, and I love track. Like, of course, you get over a certain weight, and those other track guys are really, really rolling. So that was out of the picture when I got to college. But at the same time, man, I credit to a lot of my success on the field is my speed. That was what I was good at. I'm a linebacker. I like to hit, and I take on blocks here and there sometimes. But I tell you what, my speed, when you watch the film, especially as a young player, I can run with the best of them and track down the ball pretty good.
Did you ever play in what is now Waco ISD Stadium? Because I think it opened maybe your senior year, right?
That's exactly right. Yep, in 01. That was I was the first class to go through there. We had a jumbotron. I mean, it was. You look at it now, it's kind of like, oh, this is cool. But back then, 20 years ago, that was
shit.
big time.
It was the stuff.
I'll be honest, it's still a beautiful stadium. I've worked high school football playoff games there. Such a beautiful stadium. In fact, there was a story. The first time I met Matt Rule, when he first got hired at Baylor, he and I met, and he was talking about he was going around town right after he arrived in Waco, and he took a picture of Waco ISD Stadium, sent it to his dad. His dad thought that was Baylor Stadium.
Yeah, no, it's pretty. It's a nice size
It
too.
was a high school stadium, in other words.
Yeah, really good, really good. It hosts a lot of playoff games throughout the year. So,
Derrick, can I go back a little bit in your recruiting process? Can you we get 5 official visits. Did you take all your official visits?
I think I took 4. I think I took 4 of them. Of course, I took Texas. I had Rob Babers as my recruiter, my host, I should say, and I took A&M. I didn't take Baylor, even though my brother went there. I saw too much. Saw way too much. I was like, no, I'm good. And he even was like, all right, you go your own path. But so we had Texas A&M, OU. OU was definitely up there, and Florida State. Florida State. I had a cousin that started there. He played in the league a few years too. He was up there, so I wanted to just check it out because he was raving about it. But my 2 choices was out of Texas and OU, but I was never going to go out of it. I wasn't going to go across that red line. I wasn't going to do that.
And we're right before it.
Why didn't you go to Alabama or UCLA?
Alabama on a map like that.
I know. Being a Texas guy, I want to stay close to home, man. And I already fell in love with UT, especially when Kwame Caville was there before me. He was at Waco High, so I already kind of had a soft heart for Texas, and they kind of the whole time Texas, they always told me the truth. They didn't shoot me nothing that wasn't the truth, and and I tell you what, Mack Brown, he had my mom he has all the parents in love with Mack, and I tell you what, boy, the parents put a little pressure on you. They say, hey man, they only have a certain amount of scholarships, so you may want to get going. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna wait mine out a little bit, and I knew if Texas wanted me, they would hold my scholarship, and they did.
Listen to him. They held my scholarship.
You talk about Mack Brown.
Hold one spot for me.
You talk about Mack Brown, his charm over parents. That's still true today with what he's doing in North Carolina. So yeah. we know it well, obviously, down here. What was it like when you first arrived on campus?
I tell you what, I was, and I love that I had this mindset. And when I got out there, I didn't think I was going to play. I thought I was probably going to redshirt because we had 3 seniors at linebacker. So you had Dede Lewis, you had Everett Rawls, and you had Tyrone Jones. So, I'm like, all right, it is what it is. They have a really good defense already, stacked everywhere. I'm like, let me just go in and, no pressure. Let's go head first. And I tell you what, man, I surprised myself, honestly. Out there in practice, doing scrimmages, during the first few games. I mean, they'll let me go in there the last, third and fourth quarter, and everybody was like, "Man, this guy, we gotta make some room to get you on the field." And that's what really I really stood out to everybody, because we was running a 4-3 defense where it was 3 linebackers. We actually changed for a couple of games a 3-4 defense, so I can start with those seniors out there, man. And I tell you what, everybody took me by the horns and by the just mentally took me under their wing and helped me out, man. They saw something special there. I was a humble guy, and I tell you what, man, I really appreciate the way they took me in, because I was as a freshman, you go through a lot when you get on campus. It's a lot of time management. It's different. It's very different. It's as far as school-wise, doing things on your own. You're adult now. You're grown now, so you gotta manage that and play ball, get bigger, get stronger. I mean everything. It's a lot that goes into it. And I tell you what, the veterans on the team, the veteran team, they really helped me out. I really enjoyed. I always enjoy the camaraderie, and Stevie can tell you the camaraderie that you have on a football team, and Todd can tell you that's unmatched, man. That is unmatched.
It's kind of what we talked about last week with BJ, that the seniors stepped up and actually took the underclassmen in because they left a legacy every single year. It started with you guys at Todd with the Shock the Nation tour, and then it just trickled all the way down. Somewhere we had a disconnect, but I feel like we're getting it right back now.
You're right. Well, and with you guys, 2001, that was when things were really ramping up with Texas. Mack Brown had really cemented himself as one of the top coaches in the country, putting in his style, top recruiter, as well. And so you guys kind of helped carry that on. And in fact, it was your guys paved the way for that 05 championship. So I can understand that completely. What was campus life? For you, what was campus life?
Busy.
Just
busy.
I mean, was there something you did to get, that detach yourself for a moment, or was it just you were immersed and you were going to be football, school, or like I said, was there something that you did to kind of get away just for a day or a few hours? What was that like?
You know what? I'm not going to tell any kind of secrets on here.
Anything we always say anything where the statute of limitations has expired. That's all. That's all we have.
No, but you know what? Campus was. I mean, living in Chester, I got real close. You get real close with your class. With the people that's in your class. Cedric Benson was my roommate my first year. So you get in touch with all of these guys the freshman year. I mean, it all get really close, regardless of it was only me and Cedric actually playing our freshman year, but we still got close with everybody, and that's how you get through the year. Like, that's the camaraderie that you have. Of course, the veterans are going to help you out, especially on the field and off the field, but your class that you come in with, those are some people you'll be with forever. You'll always have that connection with those guys. And we had a pretty good class with Michael Huff and Cedric Benson, and I mean we had a few guys, Cedric Griffin. Actually, Corin Cosby was in that, but he didn't come to 4 years later. I always have to tell people that. Aaron Ross was in that. He couldn't. He had some grade problems, so he had to wait 2 years. So we had a pretty good class. But I mean, man, I actually had a chance to come out early to the NFL, and I wouldn't dare do that. Not much fun I was having at UT, and just the camaraderie that we had as a team, and we were getting better and better and better. There was no way I can jump into that life and leave this Austin dream life for a college kid. I couldn't give that up. So I stayed my senior year, even though I could have left. Mack was actually he was kind of worried a little bit. He was like, I know a lot of people, saying that you can go, end of the first or maybe the beginning of the second, and that's a big possibility. And he was just rumbling. I'm like, Coach, I'm not going nowhere. No way I can go there. He's like, okay, are you sure? I'm like, yes, I'm not going anywhere. So,
what year was it that you did the Sports Illustrated College Edition when you were on the cover? What year was that?
I think that was going into my senior year. That was a pretty. I like that one. I got a big. I gotta go get that out of storage too. I got a big poster with that. That was
Listen, man, I got a big poster.
Nice.
Yeah. And so we gave him a lot of crap for that on the team because I guess they had him sitting on a football, so he looked so much bigger than everybody else.
I was sitting on books. And he had all the kids around me. Yeah.
And it was DJ in his full uniform, sitting in the classroom on the cover of the Sports Illustrated College Edition. It was pretty cool. It was a really cool picture, though.
That's pretty
cool. It was a cool picture.
That is cool. And Mack had that trend going for a long time about, no matter how high someone might be projected for the draft, he was always able. It started with Ricky Williams, where he stayed for his senior season, which ended up being his Heisman Trophy winning season. But a lot of guys like you, DJ, that stayed at Texas and fulfilled their commitment and did all 4 years, despite whatever projection you had as far as the draft. And I've heard this. I've heard 1,000 ways of different ways of saying it. But what was it like playing for Mack Brown?
Father figure, and a lot of us young black players needed that in our lives. Honestly, leaving home and being able to trust an older figure, a male figure in our lives. I think that was big. I think he cared about us off the field. Like you can genuinely tell when somebody cares for you, and he showed that in every way. And that's why all the parents love Mack Brown, because they can say, man, I can trust you to take care of my young man, my young son. So that was the biggest thing for me. And I mean, we had great times. I mean, 9, 10 win seasons every year. People always tell me whenever I tell them, oh yeah, I played for UT or whatever. They're like, oh yeah, you won that national championship. I'm like, no, not quite. I didn't quite.
Stage.
We were. I guess me and Stevie were the building blocks to get them.
You were.
And I tell you what, we really put Texas on a map that Michigan year when we played Michigan, because everybody was like, all right, Texas is here. Texas is not just a hype kind of deal. This was real, even though we should have been in some BCS games a couple years before that. But at the same time, we were actually there and ready for business. And BY just took it to a next level the next year.
Yeah.
Well, and that was the Rose Bowl against Michigan. That was two teams that were, I want to say, in the top 5 all-time wins. If I remember correct,
that was a really good Michigan team too.
It was a fantastic Michigan team.
Braylon Edwards. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Steve Preston, all those guys were on there.
Yeah.
So when you got to the league, my question is this: how was it so different than college? I know they say the players are faster and they're bigger, they're stronger. I mean, kind of expect that, but for you, what was the biggest thing you noticed going from college and then hitting that next level?
And what pick were you?
Yeah, look, you want to throw that out there? Huh?
I don't remember.
I was 250. I was big because everybody kept saying, "Oh, he's a small he's a small linebacker and this and this." So I was like, you know what? Let me just start eating. And for 2 or 3 years, I was 250 pounds. I was running with it, of course, but I didn't need to be that big. I definitely didn't need to be that big. But
it didn't hurt your chances because you were picked 15th overall by the Chiefs. So
right.
First round draft pick. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty stout.
When I first got there, back to Todd's question, when I first got to the league, man, the biggest difference, and everybody does say, they're bigger, stronger, faster, which is true. I had a gift to keep up with everybody. The biggest thing for me that I saw that was alarming is the mental aspect of the game. Like, crazy. Like, I remember watching a preseason game, my first year as a rookie, and I'm looking at film and I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed because I'm moving so slow. Like, I'm looking at film like, that is not me. I'm kind of like it was so weird. It was one of those, epiphany moments where you're like, whoa, like something's up. But I didn't know, I know now, but at the time I didn't know that I was just out there trying to play. At Texas, a lot of things were catered to me to be the whole player, to be that guy that roam and just kind of do what I want to do. And when I got to the Chiefs, they had me in more of a structured system, and it was a lot to learn, but I didn't take it on like that I should have. So when I first got to the league, I'm like, all right, I'm not, physically gifted and I can run around and make plays, which I did at times, but sometimes I didn't just because mentally I didn't know my right reads. I didn't know where to go type of thing. And it makes a big difference. And after I got that down, it took me a couple years, and man, the game slowed down for me. Now your ability is really magnified, and you can do whatever you want to do as long as you mental wise, you gotta know your stuff, man. I mean, it takes a lot of work, a lot of preparation, but once you get it down, the game slows down, and you can make a lot of plays.
That's amazing. Who was head coach when you were drafted? Was that Vermeil?
Yep.
Dick Vermeil. Yep. Dick Vermeil.
Did
he told me
how many times did he cry during the draft?
You know, he cried a lot. During meetings, doing team meetings, and I didn't know that. I wasn't used to that. I'm like, I've seen Matt maybe cry once or twice, maybe the Thanksgiving time. You know how we all get up and do all that stuff, but Dick Vermeil, yeah, probably once a week for sure. But Dick was he was a cool cat, man. I mean, I don't know much about him just because I heard everything about him, of course, and I was with him only for 1 year, and he retired right after that. But he told me if he didn't think that they would get a chance to draft me at 15, he actually said, DJ, that I don't, honestly, I don't think we're going to get a chance to draft you, but we would love if you fall to 15. Just know that you'll be a Chief. And at the time, I'm like, no, I don't think I'm a fall to, not me, naive, not knowing how the draft is. You don't know how the draft folds out. You can't. There's no prediction with that. So, I fell to the perfect spot. Perfect spot. I love Kansas City. Second home for me.
I've heard nothing but great things about Dick Vermeil. I had a chance to meet him a few years ago at a banquet. Jerry Sizemore, played for him for a time as well as Bill Bradley, and they love him to death. And he was such a nice man. So it's kind of neat to have that connection. The Longhorns that played the Eagles and back in the day, connecting to you there in the mid 20-aughts, I guess the best way to say it. So I get that though. That's really cool. Who was your favorite head coach to play for?
Well, let's go down the list. We got Dick Vermeil. Then we had Herm Edwards came in for 3 years. Loved Herm. Herm brought a lot of young players in and cut a lot of older players that needed to be, exit the building at the time. So he was there to clean up everything, and we didn't win much with him. But I tell you what, there's some good players that came out there. Jamal Charles was one of those players. So
that's true.
But after Herm, it was Todd Haley.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't go well. I'll tell you that, man. Todd Haley, yeah, he first got there. I think I got hurt or something in training camp his first year, and he just benched me. Didn't think that I was on my second to last year on my deal, first round pick. Everybody knew me. I've never got benched before. Always been this, the middle of the defense type of thing. And he benched me. He put somebody else in my spot and kind of kept it that way. And of course, we got into it early when I got hurt because he questioned my toughness type of thing. And with him not even knowing me, and for him to do that, we wasn't that good of a team at the time either. So we were losing games. I wasn't out there. I was only out there maybe 15 or 20 plays because I played the nickel defense. Well, you play nickel defense now, you're out there a lot more. But at the time, I was playing nickel defense, so that was just about 15 plays a game. And I tell you what, man, I grew so much that year. Right or wrong, even though it wasn't for the right reasons that I got benched, but I made sure that I kept my confidence during that adversity and kept getting better. And I tell you what, man, it helped me get closer to God. It helped me be more secure in my play on the field or evaluate myself even more. Sometimes we need that to evaluate ourselves to get better. And I tell you what, that next year, because Todd Haley was tired of everybody talking about. Man, he started hearing questions. Hey, when is Derrick Johnson going to play? When are you going to start him? What's going on? So he was tired of that. So he was like, you know what? This year, that year's over with. We're going to have open competition. Whoever wins it, wins it. We never had that before. So, man, I tell you what, that year in training camp, I beat out that guy every single day. And I'm talking about, for a month, every single day. And to beat him out every single day, even on his good days I beat him out, made sure I beat him out. I tell you what, that helped me to be much more of a consistent player by doing that. And it built a foundation that after that training camp, I won a job, and I went to the Pro Bowl every year after that. So that's not a coincidence that when you fight through something that doesn't favor you through adversity, you get better. And I that's a testament, man. That's a testimony that I've always told kids that, man, things are gonna happen in life. Adversity is gonna hit. How do you respond? If you respond the right way and have enough confidence in yourself, you can overcome it and be very successful.
Yeah, true test of character. That's the way it's always defined, is how you handle yourself in adversity. Kind of the iron sharpens iron. How many years did you play with Andy Reid?
5 years. So right after Todd Haiti got fired, Romeo Cornell, he was a really good defensive coordinator, and they kind of pushed him to be the head coach at the time. I don't know if that was a good idea. He's a better defensive coordinator. But he was there for just 1 year. Then Andy Reid came in town after Eagles let him go, and I'm like, golly, I don't know how you let that guy go after a couple disappointing seasons in Philadelphia. And I played 5 years with him, 5 years from 2013 to 2017.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, we had a winning record every year, went to the playoffs every year. That's the best head coach I play for, because you talk about somebody that's that's a player's coach and treats you like men, not a yeller or a screamer. If he is yelling, something's wrong, and everybody needs to listen. But I tell you what, man, he holds everybody to a standard, and he harps on the little things. I'm talking about, making sure you're not late for meetings, and just little stuff, making sure you have the right pads on when you go out to practice. And he always says, hey, if you can't get the little things right, it's going to be hard to get the big things right. So Andy Reid, man, I was happy for him to finally get this Super Bowl under his Hall of Fame career.
Could you see the foundation being laid when you were there, kind of that foundation being laid to eventually end up in that position to contend and win a Super Bowl?
Of course. I mean, every year we were 13-3, 12-4 type of team, and Alex Smith, under Alex Smith had a really good defense, and I mean, we just, I tell people all the time, it's we definitely was laying bricks, and we were on our way, because you had so many young people there. I mean, Tyreek Hill came my last couple of years. I mean, Pat Mahomes was my scout team quarterback, and it was going. It was going somewhere. But I tell you what, man, to win a Super Bowl, and you have to all the ducks has to be in a row. Everything has to be just right. Maybe a little good luck here and there, but everything has to line up. It can't be like, oh man, we got a squad, we're gonna go to the no. You got to have some healthiness on the team. You got to have somebody to catch a big catch at fourth quarter of the game, an interception, a tip ball. Everything has to go right, and I've had some chances to further my postseason activity, and it just didn't happen.
Well, it sounds very, very similar to winning a national championship. It's, you got to have the skill, maybe a little bit of luck. Things have to kind of break your way to get to that level. All right, so the biggest question of all about Andy Reid, do you have any idea how many Hawaiian shirts he owns?
Probably like 3, because I only see the same ones all the time.
It's just recycles.
He just
Yeah.
does laundry a lot.
I tell you what, he's when I see him in that, it says a lot about his character, because he's not a guy that does a bunch of joking around or a bunch of flashiness, and whenever I see that, I just bust out laughing, just because that's him. Just kind of, he's talking a lot, but he's not saying anything. That's all he.
Those are usually the funniest guys around. So I totally get that.
So when did you realize that, hey, this is coming to an end, this career piece, NFL thing? When did you, one day say, okay, I got about this much into me, or was you working out? I was like, oh, I'm sick of this stuff here. I mean, what was it that you said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and gracefully bow out to a degree?
Yeah, it's tough. I've been playing football my whole life since I was 9, and had a lot of success. So when that success starts going downhill, and my last year at the Chiefs, they started pulling me off the field and putting a younger guy out there, which was a great decision, actually. They saw early in the season that, man, I was playing 60, 70 plays, and I wasn't getting a lot of tackles. I was getting 5 and 6 tackles. So that tells you that I wasn't as what I saw on film, that I wasn't as reckless on the field like I usually am. And I have lost a step. Sometimes in football, you can lose that much of a step, and you fall off. You fall off. I mean, that much. That means you fall off. And at the time, I didn't. When they was like, "Hey, we got to start switching it in and out, DJ." It's just how the game is. And at the time, I didn't really want to accept it. My last year at the Chiefs, 2017, but I took it on. It was another adversity that I had to get through. And I tell you what, I was making 7 and 8 tackles, playing 50 and 60% of the game. And I was like, man, that tells you that was the right decision, because I was moving faster out there, because I was playing only 30, 40 plays, which helped out on me. I was getting older. I mean, sometimes you're out there so long, you don't know. You just want to be out there to compete. And I was getting down to the end of my ropes, and I wanted to play with the Chiefs one more year. I wanted them to sign me back. So, Mike Beach, or Brett Beach, the guy that's there now, the young GM, he wanted to go young, and I understood. He said, man, they really respect me down there, so it's no bad blood at all, and they want to go young, so that's what they did. And I told them I still wanted to play. I still wanted to see what I had left in the tank, and John Gruden, hit me up. out of everybody, John's always been a fan of me, he said. And he wanted the opportunity to coach me, and to he loves veteran players, and he just got to the Raiders, and I actually had a little bit of reservation about it. Like, man, okay, I'm going to the Raiders. Like if you're a Chief, you don't like Raiders. Like, that's like OU. You just don't do
rivalry.
it.
That's a huge rivalry in the NFL.
You just don't do it. And I and I was like, you know what? Let me sit back. Let me talk to my wife, and after I talked to my wife, she was like, you know what? you still want to play, right? You still want to play. Oh, that is exactly right. Go play football. Go play football. See what you got left. And then you can, you can sit back and have peace about it. And I did. And I tell you what, I didn't have much left. But you know what? Doing training camp, I'm like, I couldn't get my body going. It was so weird. Like, I don't know. It was like, usually I make a lot of plays during training camp. Like, the coaches see, like, okay, DJ still got it. And I just couldn't quite get it. I make a play here and there. Mentally, I know where everything's going. I'm like, oh, this is happening. Oh, yeah. But I just couldn't, I'm that far off and just can't get there. And I wasn't as reckless and tough, I should say, as I usually was early in my career. But I tell you what, man, I had a great time, and we training camped in Napa Valley. It was cool, man. It was a little vacation for me. And then they cut me half of the year. We went to London and played Seattle, and they cut me after that. You know what? I was being an older player, getting cut. I was actually I felt peace about it. Like it was, I don't want to say happy, but I was like, man, I'm going back home, be with my family. Like I'm good. Like, because I didn't have much left, man. And I think that was the best thing that I went out to Oakland to get that out of my system.
Good. That's good.
That's a great ending, man. That's pretty cool. Not a lot of guys have that. They retire and they're like, I wish I could. I can go longer. And this is that. And they kill their bodies to stay longer, 2 or 3 years. And now their knees are shot, their elbows and shoulders are jacked, and they're having double replacement of hips. Not because everything just they stay too long.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I do have a question. So you talk a lot about mental health. Do you think? Well, I know, but I'm going to ask you the question. A lot of the guys that you've met during and after the fact, do you feel they have a lot of that CTS, CTE going on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You said do a lot of guys do? Say that again. A lot of guys.
The CTE
do I know?
from just in general from the guys you played with and then the retired. Do you see a lot of them having the CTE effect from hitting so many years?
Yeah, I do, and it kind of it sucks, man. It's a real thing that we have to attack, and it's one of those things that kind of sits you back and lets you think like, man, I've been hitting the head a lot too. So I mean, we all kind of, you think about it, when we die at some point. When they do research, is that going to be there? And that's a real thing, man. And that's why a lot of kids aren't playing football because of that. And I mean, my take on it, my advice, if the kid really wants to play, let him play. Let him play. You got to educate him on the right way to hit, right way to approach the blockers or actually to make a tackle, to keep their head out of it. But it's a dangerous sport. It's a violent sport. I knew that when I was getting into it, and I've been blessed to come out of it and still have my health and strength and my mental part of my health going on, which means everything, honestly.
What's next for you, man? You've retired now about a year or two, and got the family, got the kids. Now COVID, I'm sure has let you stay home more so, but what is next for you? What is this, what's the life look like after this?
Oh man. Well, I got 5 boys. So I tell you what, I'm busy. I do not want a 9 to 5 right now. I am going to do a little bit of broadcast, a little bit of commentating, maybe some Longhorn Network stuff, come on and off on that. But right now I cannot be bound up just because I've missed a lot being in football with, with the family and with my kiddos. And I'm actually really, really enjoying being free and not being on a schedule. I've been on a schedule my whole life, man. I mean, golly. I mean, just a regiment. And I'm enjoying it. I'm always eager to give back to the kids and coach up kids. And when you talk about football, I always want to be some kind of coach, linebacker coach or something like that. So I'm always staying abreast of what's going on in the NFL or the college league and just making sure I'm when I watch film or watch a TV game or watch a football game, my wife is like, oh my goodness, here we go. I'll stop it and then I'll be trying to quiz her. Hey, you know what, on this play, you know what happened on this right here? She's like,
I've watched a football game with Derrick Johnson, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me, man. This guy has a passion for football.
DJ, I want to ask you, you mentioned about doing those NFL international games in London. How many of those did you do, and did you enjoy them? Because I've heard mixed reviews about those.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Because I went in my older career because I knew how to manage the time. If you don't know how to manage the time, it's not good for the younger players because they don't play good on when it comes to Sunday. It is a vacation. It is a business trip, but it's a vacation too. Because you fly your family over there. Everybody kind of flies over there. and at least from Wednesday to Sunday type of thing. Of course, you have practice and everything, but it's not anything hardcore. It is a good experience for everybody to get out of the country to go play, and you see NFL football is everywhere. I mean, it's kind of like on game day, it looks like a Pro Bowl because everybody has different jerseys on. Even if it's the Chiefs and 49ers playing down there, that's not in the stands. It's everybody jerseys. Whoever their favorite team is, they wear those jerseys. So it's kind of a cool kind of vibe. I enjoyed it.
I mean, and that's good. I have some friends that do that cover the NFL in the UK, and they have a blast doing it. I see them every year at the Super Bowl. It's a lot of fun for them. So, and I know, and I'm glad that, the fans have a great time. I'm glad at least some of the players have a good time too. So, the NFL season is about to kick off next week. Do you still get that tinge about, hey, I could be out there, or are you satisfied? Are you set that like I'm good. I'll let them play.
Yeah, I'm good. I am. I I tell you what, I have to watch it. I'm still in that football mode where I have to watch the games, especially the Chiefs, obviously, but I have to watch the games. I'm a football head, so I love the mental aspect of the game, and even though maybe there's a little bit of twinge, meaning bittersweet, meaning, man, I know what these guys are feeling, man. I know that feeling of the first game and they doing this and this, pregame, I'm going through the whole thing in my head because I'm kind of brainwashed that way. But I tell you what, I have a lot of appreciation for what those guys do on Sundays. And I'm just kind of happy and glad I had a chance to experience that for a very long time.
So do you think you'll make the what's the name of that city that they take you guys to, you badass not Pro Bowl, but come on guys.
Talking about Canton, Ohio?
Yeah, Canton, Ohio. What's the called? Hall of Fame.
Man.
You think you'll make it? I think you will.
I hope so.
First ballot. Come on, first ballot.
I think that's what I'm saying. I'm like, because I'm gonna ask the man.
You'll be eligible in 2023.
Yeah, I think it's 4 or 5 years. 5 years after.
5 years.
Like that.
5 years after you retire. So I want to say that would be 2023 or 2024. You'll be eligible.
Yeah,
Guys, we talking to a first ballot Hall of Famer, man. I'll walk in my house and first ballot.
He is
party at Derrick's house. Party at DJ's.
Hey, we will have a big party if that happens. But I tell you what, man, I'm blessed and proud that I was a part of it, and I can be in those conversations for the Hall of Fame. But yeah, I couldn't. I don't even really think about it. So that's a good thing, actually.
Right.
I understand. And now, have you been there? I'm sure you've played.
I have not. I heard.
You have not.
I
Okay.
have not. I heard it's a sight to see. Like
one of my very first radio gigs was to cover the 2010 induction weekend. That was Emmitt Smith and Jerry Rice and John Randall and Dick LeBeau, and it is
nice.
It is like you are walking in football paradise, because not only do you see all the displays and all the everything from the history of football, but especially on induction weekend, your head's on a swivel, because all of a sudden you're walking along with Joe Montana or Terry Bradshaw, or you run into Marcus Allen or whatever. And it's just it is an amazing weekend. It still gives me chills. I need to get back up there one of these days. So,
that's awesome.
I mean, you are in the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame. You are in the Longhorn Men's Hall of Honor. What did that mean to you to be inducted last year into the Hall of Honor?
Man, it was big time. It was big time. When you go through UT, I personally don't set those kind of goals what I set up is trying to be the best version of myself each day, the best linebacker I can be each day. When you can look back, you can say, man, I've done a lot. And I tell you what, man, I'm in the Missouri Hall of Fame. That was about a year ago. I got inducted in that. So it's pretty cool to be any kind of Hall of Fame to it. That's good with me, man. That means you've done a lot.
Yeah.
You're now a part of you're part of the history of high school football. You're a part of the history of the Kansas City Chiefs and the NFL. So you can't ask for much more than that, right?
Only thing better than that is to be the Hall of Honor, men's Hall of Honor for Texas.
He is. Right? That's what I said.
He is.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? That's right.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought so.
Yeah,
I thought so.
That box is checked. I'm checking all boxes, man.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
College Football Hall of Fame and then Pro Football Hall of Fame. And then
all that stuff is coming to you, man. That wall needs all the Hall of Fame and Hall of Honor and everything.
Yeah, you need
right
more
to the left. Right to the left.
Are you down in your basement right now?
Yeah, I'm down in my basement.
Man, you know what? That's a hell of a house, man. Who's your agent?
You know what? I got my guy that's always been taking care of me since I was at UT, man.
We love that. We love
free advertising time.
No question, man. My wife and I, we love you and your family, and we thank y'all for doing business with us for real, man. That's great man. That you come back and remember the little people, right?
Well, DJ, it's been so much fun to reminisce with you. I was lucky enough to be at your event for your foundation back in 2008. In fact, I think that was the first time I met Todd, and just had a wonderful time. And you
had a blast.
And it's been so much fun to follow your career, and I'm so excited to see what happens in the months and years to come. I know you've got great things in store, whether it's in broadcasting or, coaching or whatever. I know Longhorn Nation will be thrilled to follow you in your post-playing career. So Thanks so much for giving us some of your time, man.
It means a lot, man. Thanks a lot, y'all. Thank you.
That'll do it for this week's Longhorn Lowdown. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Longhorn Lowdown. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Stu Myrick. Follow Stevie Lee at
Stevie Lee 65 on Instagram. Stevie J Lee on Twitter.
Todd, you're at 94.hunt on Instagram, correct?
Yes.
And DJ, how do people find you on social media?
Super DJ 56 on Twitter and Instagram.
Keyword being super. Before I let you, I gotta ask you, what was the emotion when KC clinched that Super Bowl?
Oh man, it was a bunch of emotions. I mean, a little bit of excitement, a little bit of jealousy, a little bit of just partying, just everything. It was cool, man. We worked so hard to be in that game and to win it. And they finally did it, so hats off to them.
I tell you what, Chiefs Nation, that was my second Super Bowl to attend. I have never heard a crowd louder than when Chiefs got roared up when they made that comeback. Oh, it put the hair on the back of your neck, made it stand on end. So really cool. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks so much for giving some of your time. Enjoy the rest of your week. Until next time, hook 'em.